Welcome to Cooking with Heart for Diabetes Class 4. So it's exciting. We have been together for 4 weeks now. So you're going to be an official graduate today. It's a little sad. So that this is, but I promise you, you are ready to go. Your training wheels will come off. So a big thank you to Genesis, to Trinity Foundation, to the Quad Cities Diabetes Association that allows us to do these classes, offer them up to the community. So it's just a lot of fun for me. And I really believe in the power of the classes and you being here and absorbing what you need to absorb for the moment and taking the baby steps to move forward and getting on that journey, your health journey. So that's going to be different for each person. Today we are doing salmon, the best salmon done simple. And so we're going to talk a little more about why I'm highlighting salmon. And then we're going to do overnight oats in several different ways. And that's just, we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of oats. And so if you're a little bored with your oatmeal, we want to spice it up. So, okay, I want to hear from you guys now what you have learned, what this last week, what sort of things have you done differently, heard, talked, just noticed, been aware? What, tell me about this last week. Anything? Yes, I got a big hand back there. Sorry, Mark. Okay.
After class last week, after eating what you made, I probably sounds kind of funny, but it made me burp, which made me feel good because I hadn't done a lot of that for whatever reason.
Oh my goodness.
I had been hungry all day, but after eating that, I wasn't hungry at all anymore.
Oh, awesome. And why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Okay, everybody anybody want to help out? Think about why. We had the microwave frittata and we had the smoky tortillas. Yes. So what do you think, guys? Why do you think that really helped his energy level, fullness? Protein, fiber, and protein. Yes. Thank Kelly and Mark. Yeah, both those things together are really great combination. So yeah. So that's great to note for you in particular. I mean, there's going to be variance in the vegetables, variance in protein foods, but you found that egg white, possibly, beans, possibly we had, and the vegetables. And you had did you have one flour tortilla maybe?
Yeah.
And one corn tortilla. So your body was able to balance that really well. So awesome. Okay, Mark. Okay. Mark shared that he's looking at labels a lot more. So he's just naturally getting that habit of looking at the labels. That's a great habit to get into. Awesome. Other learnings. Yes, Carol.
I'm addicted to hummus. I just have it every day.
Aw.
On the tortilla with anything I have in the refrigerator.
Oh my goodness, that is so good. Okay, Carol is addicted to hummus. So I love it because there's beans in there and there's the olive oil. So those are a great combination. I listened to a podcast today really talking about how beans 4 times a week can really drop your cholesterol. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So yes. Other sharings. Diana, do you have something? I can see that face, that look.
Well, I made your brownies.
Yes.
He ate the whole thing all by himself.
Oh, no.
He wouldn't even share.
So well.
Yes, so we went out and bought the cans and he's like, what? I said, here's the list. This is what you gotta buy. He goes, I ate that? I said, no, you ate a whole can of that. And he goes, so why am I making more? I said, so you can, not these are gonna be for everybody else, but I'm gonna teach you how to make it. And he only knows how to turn the microwave on. So I got his mother's blender out and there was nothing in there that he could not measure or figure out. And he's like, I did these all by myself. And we turned on the stove, and because he's not allowed to turn on the stove, he's 10 years old, so there's caution there, and I said, okay. He goes, I want that recipe. When you're done with it, I want the recipe.
Oh,
And it's like, so I'm gonna take the page and laminate it so he has his recipe.
okay. Did you guys hear that?
Great.
Diana, her 10-year-old is here.
He's my cousin.
Okay, cousin. So we've had the honor of, he's been in class maybe once, twice,
Once,
once. So, but it was the brownie. It was that
Yeah,
session. It was a brownie session. So he has eaten a whole batch and actually made, for the first time ever, made a whole recipe. Oh my goodness.
yes.
So
He can cook now.
he can. Well, I agree. So, that is awesome. So, thank you for sharing, Diana. Anything else? These are wonderful. And I know there's plenty more. And what I wanted to do is, the reason why I had we passed around coffee beans. Okay, everybody has a little pile of coffee beans. So I really want to emphasize how important it is to focus on the changes that you're making. Okay, we are trained to focus on what we call successes. In other words, things going the way that we have detailed in our mind, and it's not going to go that way on this journey. Okay. Okay. Gonna just check real quick. We get muted here. So there we go. So I want you to start training yourself to pay attention to the gain, not the gap. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but what have you changed? What are you gaining? So how you're moving forward. Okay. We tend to go, gosh, I haven't gotten there yet. And that's called focusing on the gap instead of, what have I changed? I've changed a lot. Each one of you is not the same person that you were 4 weeks ago. You've changed a lot. You've done a lot of different things. There's no going back. So, and one of my favorite doctors to kind of follow, Dr. Rangan, he's actually from the UK. He does this with, he's a GP in the UK, and he does this with his patients. So, because he knows how hard it is. He's really all about helping people make changes and understanding the challenges they have. And so one thing he recommends is that people get coffee beans and then put the jar somewhere where it's visible. It could be the kitchen, but it could be somewhere else, and put a little supply and drop in some coffee beans when you think about the changes you've done. So when you think about the brownies you've made, and, even thinking about noticing, being aware of how your fullness was, those are new things. And I want you to continue with those things. So those are all things that we want to be part of how we are in the world. So, and, there's, Mark is reading labels. All those things are changes. Just noticing that you're not having as many cravings, or that you're reaching for things differently, and all this are just, there's so many things that are happening, and you're going to continue on this. So I want to pass around this, and I want everybody to put your coffee beans in the mason jar there, and just think about all the changes for a moment. I want you to think about all the changes that you've done. It's really important to recognize all these changes and celebrate them. Okay. I realize that we're in the Midwest, and one of the traits of Midwesterners is we are hard workers. And sometimes what that means is we don't take time to celebrate. And I really want you to celebrate, because it's not foo-foo-ish. It's really actually part of getting you excited for this journey. And you imprint. And when you celebrate, are you more likely to continue, or are you going to stop the journey? Continue. Yeah, it's psychology. Okay. And it works. Okay. So, Tanya, can you pass around the mason jar so everybody can add their beans? And as you're adding your beans, just take a moment to think, wow, I'm reading labels. I've gotten some new ingredients. I've tasted new things. I've come to class. I've, read the emails. All those things are things that I want you to celebrate. Okay. So time to get going with our topic today, heart disease. So I really want you to recognize how closely tied heart disease is to diabetes. So once you're diagnosed with diabetes, you become a heart patient. And there's good reason for that. So I'm going to throw out a really harsh fact to kind of get us going. And that is, if you had to place a bet about what would kill you, your best bet would be heart disease. I know that's really not a fun fact to think about, but heart disease is the #1 killer. Okay. So, you know, all health is important. I'm not trying to take the light off of diabetes or anything, but there's a reason they're connected. So right now you are taking steps to change that course. So pat yourself on the back. Kudos to you. Prevention really doesn't take anything, I think, and you gain a lot. So I'm a little biased, but you're here doing prevention. Okay, so individuals with diabetes are 2 to 4 times more likely to die of heart disease, 2 to 4 times more likely. And this has to do with what happens with high blood sugars. Okay, when blood sugars get high, there's chemical changes in your nerves. And these chemical changes impair the nerve's ability to transport. So that's one thing. Secondly, the higher blood sugars, even, you know, if you're well controlled too, but you've got times where they're higher, those are times where it is going to do some damage in your arteries, possibly. Now, of course, the better control you have, the less likely that happens. Okay. So these things contribute and really can break down in your arteries, the health of your arteries. And we're going to talk a little more about that. They also, your very delicate, fragile nerves in your kidneys and your eyes are very susceptible. Okay, so that's where we see a lot of kind of longer term effects from individuals with diabetes. So it's just very important to, of course, keep your blood sugars well controlled, and you've got lots of great information about that, but also take care of your arteries so that your heart health is very important. Okay, so let's go into heart disease and kind of how this connection, a little more about how heart disease develops. So when you're born, your arteries are born. So let's pretend this is one of your arteries. So it's clean. See how it's clean? There's just nothing in there. Okay. So when you're born, it's like this. But then as you start to age, there's a slow development of blood of your plaque. I don't want to say plaque, but you start as you age, there's things that break down in your arteries that can contribute to plaque buildup. But lifestyle is going to be your biggest factor that contributes to what happens. So, okay. So now in your blood, you've got red blood cells, white blood cells, and you've got platelets that stop bleeding. So all these things are carried in your blood. And cholesterol is one component that we hear a lot of. Cholesterol is a waxy, soft substance that every cell has a component of cholesterol. So you would actually die if we didn't have any cholesterol. If your body didn't make cholesterol, your body actually makes 4 times what you eat. We need cholesterol. Now, cholesterol is something that can't be carried in your bloodstream just kind of as is cholesterol. It's fat soluble and it won't be transported in the blood. So your body creates these cool packages called lipoproteins, and it packages up the cholesterol. And there's a couple that you've heard of. There's more than this, but there's 2 that you've heard of. LDL is one of those packages, low density lipoprotein, and the other one's HDL, high density lipoprotein. So LDL, the low density lipoprotein, its job is to transport cholesterol to all your cells. So it starts out the liver. Your liver actually makes your cholesterol that's delivered throughout your body. So it makes these LDL packages, and then it's transported throughout your body. Now, the HDL, the high density lipoprotein, its job isn't to transport cholesterol to cells, but instead clean up what gets left behind in your bloodstream. Okay. So the LDL sometimes leaves off little fragments. And so the HDL picks those up and goes back to the liver. And it's either what the cholesterol that it has on board is either excreted or repurposed. So there's this nice cycle of LDL delivering, HDL cleaning up, and HDL bringing it back to the liver so that you have a normal or a healthy level in your bloodstream. Now, what can happen is the lifestyle that we've are in our culture in the last 60 years with food, exercise, stress, blood pressure gets in there, smoke gets in there. These things all contribute to breaking this process, this nice balance that we've had for thousands plus years. So what can happen is if the LDL gets high, and we'll talk about that in a moment, how that gets high, but if the LDL gets too high, in other words, it has too much to transport, we find that there's two subclasses of LDL, subtypes of LDL. There's big fluffy and there's small dense. And the big fluffy are the good worker bees. The small dense, they actually kind of goof off and they don't do their work. And actually they're called small dense because they sink. Your blood actually has this really, the heart pumps and you've got this, it's pumping the blood and it's flowing and it's really this really beautiful kind of action that happens. And everything is kind of the right density to kind of catch the flow, the wave and keep going. Well, small dense actually just sink. They don't catch the wave. They are so compact, they just sink. So they sink, they goof off, and they actually look for trouble. And when you have inflammation, they find trouble in nicks inside your arteries. So if you have a nick and then you have these small dense LDLs that sink to the bottom, and then they go in there because they're really not looking to be doing their work. They really love getting in trouble. They go in there and then the body says, oh my goodness, we've got an oopsie here, a wound. And so it sends the platelets and different inflammation, your immune response there, and you get like a pimple that starts to form there, kind of like a pus pimple. It used to be called a pus pimple. So, but that's the start of plaque buildup from a nick, an injury. Now, this injury can happen from high blood pressure, high blood sugars, from these small dense LDLs, having a lot of them. It can happen from smoke, any kind of smoke, pollution, cigarettes, and those other things that a lot of the young ones smoke. It can happen from stress, having high levels of cortisol. So you get the nick, then you get the small dense LDLs, and you have, if you don't have a high HDL that's grabbing those LDLs before they get in trouble and taking them back to the liver, you've got a perfect storm. So what continues to happen is that pus pimple, okay, we see here, we've got my artery and my pus pimple have started to grow. I've got an inflammation there. Your body just, it really freaks out and it really is mistaken. I wish I could tell the body, stop it. We don't want this inflamed response going to that nick and that pus pimple. But it just keeps going over and over. And now it's not something that happens in a week, guys. This happens in like 30, 40 years it takes. That's why really teenage, 20, 30, these things can start to happen. So, and they accelerate depending upon your lifestyle. So now normal aging, some of this is going to happen. We're going to see some of this happening, but at a very slow rate. But it's like 5-10 times plus when we do the lifestyle. So we've got this kind of pus that's building up from this response the body mistakenly is thinking is a wound, and it's just piling it up. And you can see that we're getting higher. So we're blocking, constricting some of the artery there. And I want you to also understand this is soft plaque, okay? Because there's stages of plaque building up. And over time, this will get pieces of calcium. My calcium's in here. So calcium there onto this and start to build a layer there. Now, when the calcium is fully there, then it's hardened, okay? And that's more, I hate to use the word mature, but that's more mature plaque, older plaque, once the calcium is there and it's hardened. Now, there's pluses and minuses to soft, unstable plaque and hardened plaque. When we're at the soft, unstabilized plaque without the calcium or with little of it, and it's still kind of moldable, it's not super hard. The problem there is it's very easy to rupture. And 3 out of 4 heart attacks are ruptured soft plaque. Okay, and what I mean by rupture, it can mean a couple different things, but most often what it means is pulling back of this glob here. It pulls back, catches it and pulls it because it's soft. It may break off a little piece. And I know for me, the immediate problem I think of is that little piece is circulating. It's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem, but the bigger problem is this. Because it's been pulled back. When you're blocking it and then it's pulled back, what happens is it opens it up and it becomes longer, okay? So another way of thinking of it is if you've got a big owie here and you decide to pick it, okay? Okay, I know you would never do that, but let's just say you pick it because it's bugging you and you pick it and it's lifted up. And you're like, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. It's bleeding now. So you pat it down, you maybe put a Band-Aid on there. That's the same thing in your artery. It pulls back, you expose it. Now your body really freaks out because you've got, in a sense, a wound inside your artery. It's not all the way off, but it's sticking out. Now this huge response because of this open wound happens, and now it grows really quickly. And that's when the rupture can end up in a heart attack because that soft plaque is now blocking the artery. Okay, that response grew so quickly, the inflammation response, the immune response to the inflammation, the wound, and your body is inflamed, and then your immune response comes. Now you've got blockage. Now you have heart attack. Okay. So in general, a unstabilized soft plaque is pretty dangerous. Okay. Now, when it's more mature and it has the calcium specks of and gets hardened, it's not going to rupture like that. We don't see that happening. What happens is it's scarred and stiff. And do you think that's good for your arteries and your blood pressure?
Nope.
No. So that's a downside there, okay? So, however, most heart attacks are happening from the soft plaque ones. So, I just want you to be clear because it gets confusing. And honestly, in most of the readings that I do, they don't differentiate between the soft. Usually the soft is called unstabilized and the hardened is called stabilized, okay? Because it's in place once it's hardened with the calcium, okay? So, okay. So what do we need to do so this LDL, the small dense LDL is less likely to be manufactured in your body, low saturated fat, okay? Saturated fat, we keep to 10 grams. You've heard that, but in a particular animal. And really, I think in 10, 20 years, we are going to have specific types of saturated fat. We already are starting to kind of create a list. Dairy is confusing. If you want to confuse a nutritionist, ask them about dairy. Okay, because it's got different saturated fats that seem to act differently. There's some medium chain ones that don't seem, and then the ones in chocolate don't seem to be as dangerous. Okay, so, but the ones in beef, guys, nope, those are no, sorry. So, so really the type, and we know avocado and extra virgin olive oil and nuts, those have really great stuff in them. Okay, so it can get confusing, but I want you to know saturated fat overall, our body doesn't do well on a high number. And then in general, we like to keep away from too much of the animal saturated fat. Sugar also, high sugar, no surprise, added. Our body does fine with complex, like whole foods with sugar in them, fruit, okay? It doesn't do so well with added sugar. It freaks out and we get an inflammation response. And our body also is very easily triggered into, let's save it for a rainy day. Okay. And when it sees all that sugar at once, it says, gosh, this is golden for saving it for a rainy day. And it will turn it to triglycerides. That's easy peasy for it, guys. So, and then you have high triglyceride, and then you pack it on your belly area, which is not the most healthy region. So, okay, I want to hop over real quickly to my PowerPoint. Or did I get that up? Oh, I don't think I did because I was having trouble with my computer. So let me get that up here real quick. My
It's logging me out, logging me back in.
okay, well, fun stuff. It's always fun with computers. You just never know. So I'll just bring it up here. Okay, so oh, you guys aren't seeing it yet either. So let me share. I didn't share over there. Let me share. There we go. Let's get it sharing. It's still working on it. Come on. Yes. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go through a couple of real life stories to illustrate what you can do about plaque and these different multifactors that you may be also wondering about. Okay, so this is Jed. Jed is a 55-year-old medically retired plumber. He had a heart attack 5 years ago. He's currently taking 9 medications for his heart, his blood pressure, and his diabetes. He quit smoking 10 years ago and since has gained 22 pounds, which he blames on his inability to exercise. He often gets short of breath when he lies in bed and feels better when he uses 3 pillows under his head. He's bitter about the fact that his friends are still working and apparently healthy. He asks, why did I get a heart attack? Why me? Heart disease is a progressive disease and doesn't stop after one heart attack. The reason that Jed had a heart attack and his friends did not is a result of many factors. Some of the factors are under Jed's control, such as a specific, or not under Jed's control, such as his specific genes that he inherited from his parents. And genes affect many structures and functions in the body, such as the size of the heart arteries and their ability to resist plaque buildup. However, what Jed has not accepted is that there are several factors called risk factors that Jed could change to prevent heart attacks. If he had control of these risk factors as a young adult, he would not have suffered a heart attack at middle age. Heart disease plaques in Jed's arteries have been growing since birth. Jed's risk factors that have been increasing the plaque are what lifestyle factors? Smoking, not exercising, yeah. High blood sugar, high blood pressure, extra weight. Now, it's not too late to reduce his risk. your lifestyle either grows the plaque or keeps your arteries smooth and clean. Now, Dan is a 49-year-old bus driver who quit smoking cigarettes 2 years ago. He blames his obesity on his sedentary job and his high blood pressure to the stress of dealing with the public. His diabetes is not well controlled. He knows that he needs to reduce his LDL cholesterol level to less than 50. If he follows his doctor's advice, he wants to know, how long will it take me to reverse the plaque in my arteries? Dan must first understand that his heart disease has been developing since he was an infant. It's been accelerated by his less than ideal lifestyle and his poor compliance with taking his prescribed meds. The rate of reversal of his heart disease will depend to a great extent on his willingness to comply with his doctor's recommendations. Assuming that he is compliant and gets his diabetes, high blood pressure, and weight under control, his outlook is good. The first thing that Dan wants to do is stabilize the plaque in his arteries. Stabilization includes reducing the inflammation in the plaque. Studies have demonstrated that plaques can be stabilized within 30 days of starting aggressive medical therapy and lifestyle changes. Furthermore, reversal of some plaque can be demonstrated after 12 months and at 2 years. More reversal can be demonstrated. The rate of reversal depends on many factors, but control of heart disease risk factors is so key right now. Since heart disease plaques can rupture at any time, Dan should not delay in initiating his lifestyle and medication changes. So what are the numbers that you want for plaque reversal from a Western lifestyle? So in general, we say less than 70 LDL if you want to start reversing and stabilize. Now, you heard that Dan's been asked to go 50, and we know the lower you go, the better it is, really. There is not really such a thing as too low with LDL, okay? HDL, we want greater than 60. You will see charts, you get your lab back and it's going to say something like greater than 40 for men and greater than 50 for women. Well, 60 you really want greater than, and your triglyceride, less than 150. I usually want that less than 100 if we're going to be aggressive. And if you look at your ratio of HDL to triglyceride, you want your ratio to be 1 or less. Triglyceride first to HDL. Okay, so if your HDL is higher than your triglyceride, awesome. Okay, so now we all have different things that we're fighting with. There's different, genes, but let me tell you, genes are not a deciding factor. Okay, a lot of people just throw in the towel once they go, oh, my dad, all the men in my, in my family have died and had a heart attack in their 50s. I have no chance. Don't, guys. Okay, most of the genes have to do with receptors for LDL. Now, there's one called FSH, which you're going to need more aggressive medication if you have that. That's pretty rare, though. Most of the genetic factors have to do with the receptors, which, again, it's not an end-all sentence, okay? And that's where I am, okay? And I just choose not to give the lifestyle that my genes would thrive in, okay? They basically don't exhibit themselves and become a problem unless you give them the lifestyle that they love, that they thrive in, okay? Which is a negative lifestyle, okay? So some other things, fiber, oats and barley are really good. They have a fiber in their type called beta-glucan, and that's why we're emphasizing oats. You don't have to have oats as oatmeal, though, okay? Get creative. In our Western kind of culture, we tend to do oats as oatmeal, and then that's it. Barley, sometimes we do a soup. You can do quick barley. There's quick barley you can get. But, there's porridges and like savory oats in Indian cultures. So, just shake it up and look for different ways. So it's just really super effective at grabbing on to the LDL, the viscous fiber from oats and also from beans.
healthy fats, avocado, nuts, and extra virgin olive oil by far. Those are your three that you should be using as your source of fats. And then fish. Fish, super great. Fish is really good for your artery health. I think of fish like lotion moisturizer for your arteries. You know how we love to keep, we got to keep our legs and our arms moisturized. So you got to keep your arteries with fish. So it really helps them. It decreases some platelet and clotting factors that contribute to plaque buildup. It keeps them a little more flexible. Those nicks are less likely to form that I talked about. Fish, we find the sweet spot is about 2 times a week. We just don't have research. I've had some people say, can I do 5 times? I'm like, well, it's not going to be like bad, but we just don't have research to back up going more than 2. We see 2 at kind of the peak. So if you're at none on average, half of serving a week, every other week, try and get to 1. And then if you can, once you hold that for a month or 2, see if you can start finding some more recipes that you'll love to get to 2. Okay. These are the things that contribute to the LDL and the triglycerides. Excess calories, eating more calories than you need. Makes sense, but be careful of that. Added sugar. So again, added sugar. For women, we want no more than 24 grams of sugar for the entire day. That's only 6 teaspoons, and that sounds like a lot, but it isn't when you start to read the labels. And there's some tricky stuff too. I noticed some Apple packages that they said no added sugar. And I was like, oh, how am I going to win with that one? So I know they didn't add sugar, but they concentrated the fruit puree. So it was like, okay, this is borderline here. And men, it's 36. So it's 9 teaspoons, 36 grams for the whole day. Saturated fat, again, 10 grams, no more than. And if you can kick out a little bit of that animal protein, animal saturated fat, that would be great. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Or if it's just mine.
No. Are you guys there? I see Judith. I see Carolyn. Awesome. Okay. We thought we lost you. I thought I kicked you out, hit a button or something. Okay. Okay. Awesome. We just want to be sure. Okay. Action steps. So here's some action steps. Eat fish at least once during the next week. That's huge, guys. If you're not there and you got a triglyceride over 150, that's the one I'm going to go for you. So now, unless you're a little nervous about fish like somebody over there. So I get it, but just saying, if you like fish, this is something that will serve you well. Eat oats at least once during the next week if you're not eating it regularly. Eat 1 day of at least 75% plants at each meal. See if you can do it and how you feel. Walk at least 10 minutes, okay? Exercise is great for us. As a matter of fact, let's stand up, everybody. So while you're thinking about your action step, I'm going to hop back over. Stand up and do a stretch, and then go ahead and you can go ahead and sit down. We'll get going with the demonstration. So, okay, go ahead and sit down. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So your body thanks you too. Let's see. I need to switch my camera here so you guys are seeing. And while I'm switching over, I do want to encourage you to continue with the action steps. You can do it in a formal sense, set aside a time once a week to do it. Oh, it is on room camera. So you see here?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, I don't know how it switched or what. Okay, that's great. So set aside a formal time to do it, to review, celebrate your successes, what you learned. Those are everything's a success. And set, what am I going to hold this for the next week? Do I feel like it's habit? Maybe that's what you're going to be doing, adding something, going back through your action steps from the class here. Or, you're setting aside in your head, but somehow keep moving forward, taking baby steps. Review, celebrate baby steps. So I want you to continue with that. Okay, so we are going to start off with salmon. So I want to get in the oven some salmon. So salmon is so easy. So fish, when I see fish on the menu, I love it because I know I've got an easy meal. So, oh, I gotta grab the fish. So we've got salmon here. There it is. So we just got this from Hy-Vee. You can use frozen. So salmon, you can get it. Salmon is what we call a premium fish because it's high in omega-3s. It's the omega-3s, the DHA and the EPA that are the oils that are super high. Somebody said super high and great for your arteries. So the DHA and the EPA, I know it sounds like some government organization. So they're the fish that are highest in them. All fish is way higher than anything else in our food supply, way higher. But the highest ones spell out the word smash. Salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardine, and herring. Okay, so if you're Scandinavian, that's great. Take advantage of that. Okay, so I know those weren't maybe the ones that you've been consuming, except for maybe the salmon, but I'm just telling you the way it is. Okay. Now I don't have tuna on there because I love tuna. Tuna's in that questionable. It's high in these DHA, EPA, but it's high in mercury. It's considerably higher in mercury than those. So it's a big fish, an old fish. So you eat the little fish and then you get more mercury, I guess. So tuna is once in a blue moon. If you want to do canned tuna, there's a brand called Safe Catch that they test every fish to make sure the mercury is much lower than the standards. So I would do that. And then once in a blue moon at a fancy restaurant, have tuna. Okay. That's what I do. So now all fish, except for, like I just said, the tuna, shark, swordfish, what's it from Mexico? The tilefish. Those are big fish. They're all, my understanding, they aren't, Steve?
No, I'm saying they got too much mercury.
Yes, that's what it is. So those are really high in mercury. So we say stay away from them. Okay. Shark, swordfish, tilefish, and the tuna. So, but tilapia, cod, halibut, those are all good ones to be eating. So, but okay. So what we're going to do is bake it. About any fish baked at between 350 and 400, depending on how thick the fillet is going to cook in 15 minutes. So it's really super easy. So we're just going to bake it on parchment here. So I am just going to put the fillets down here. You'll see how easy peasy this is. I'm going to change my, yes, I'm trying to think what I do next. So. Did this have the skin on it? It did not. Thank you for bringing it up. It did not have the skin. And you can do it either way. The skin has good stuff. I'm not going to encourage you like you have to. It's totally a self-preference. If you don't like it, you can have, if you get it at the counter, the fish, you can ask them to take it off. It's kind of like peeling wallpaper. Some people will cook it with it and then take it off. So it's totally up to you. So there's nothing wrong with eating it. It's just a preference. Some people like to pan sear it and then they like that kind of crispiness. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of salt and pepper on there to get us started. So let me take this away. I want to make sure I don't have any raw. So I'm just going to real quickly just do a little shake, a little grind with my pepper here. And then I'm going to make up my marinade here. Let me grab a bowl. So my marinade is really simple. Just for each fillet, half of a lemon squeezed. So remember, what's our secret for squeezing lemons? Tongs or your hands too. So, and then some extra virgin olive oil in there. Make sure you've got that EVOO. Really good. That will help raise your HDL and lower your LDL, getting the right types of fats, guys. So, garlic, I'm gonna use the jar garlic just so I can go quickly. You're welcome to use fresh too. And then for seasoning, I'm gonna go with Italian. So I have two here, and you guys, that are here can sniff, kind of see which one you like. They're both kind of combination seasonings without salt. So Italian seasonings, a real good combination here. I like herbs de Provence too. So I had a friend that was French, and he would put on everything herbs de Provence. It's from France, and it's complex, but it's not kick. So it doesn't have kick. So if you don't like kick, but you want something that is a more complex flavor, try this. It's got lavender in it. You can put it on veggies, you can put it on fish, chicken. So, but I'm going to use the Italian seasoning here. So we just mixed that up. See how easy that was? All those are ingredients that you could easily have on hand. And I'm just going to cover that. Make sure I cover it nicely. Put that garlic there. Okay, I think we got it. And then I'm going to finish off with lemon. So anybody know about the secret with lemon with fish? Why it seems like 80% plus the recipes have lemon in them? It does. Yes. Go ahead and say that again.
Brings out the brightness of it.
Yes, it brings out the brightness. That's culinary. That's how it's described. For me, what happens on a chemical level is fish. When you have that fishy smell, it's the amines in there. And the amines are what some people are like, not everybody, I mean, but some people are turned off by fish because the fishiness, and it's the amines. And amines are similar to ammonia. So, I mean, it doesn't smell like ammonia, but it's in that kind of, so when you add lemon to it, it changes to an amine salt. So it just cleans out it, exactly what you said, it cleans it out. So that's why anybody that really doesn't like fish probably is going to be, the chances of them actually eating it is going to be better with something with lemon than trying something like teriyaki or something else that doesn't have the lemon to clean it up, because they're probably going to detect underneath the amine. So that's why lemon is used in so many, and you just can't go wrong with lemon. So we're just going to put that in there and cook that. We want to make sure we get it to 145. Fish is 145 to make sure the viruses are taken care of. But see how long would that take you at home? Not long. Okay. So is that doable? Yeah. And that's fish, guys. So you just need to find it a good price. Okay. I do Walmart. So Walmart, Costco. So it can freeze, just date it, wrap it good in the freezer. You can keep it for 3 months. So, okay. So next we're going to do, I'm going to switch gloves just to be 100% sure I'm okay. So we're going to do overnight oats. How many of you have oatmeal regularly? Okay. We've got several hands. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So this is just a simple way that you can make your oatmeal a little pizzazzy, and you don't even have to you can vary up these ingredients too. So mason jar, we grab those in the refrigerator here. I got some that I already did. I want to make sure we have enough here. So we've got, I'm just gonna just break these down. Okay, so I've got my mason jars here, and I think I switched yours up to regular in your book. Do you have for a fourth a cup old fashioned oats? Yes. Okay, that's the regular, because for a while I had the big one and people were like, Teresa, that is a lot to eat. So I kind of reduced it down a little bit so that it will fit in like this size here. Okay. Whereas, again, just listen to your appetite, how long you want to go if you're wanting to, but if you're going like 5-6 hours with this, that might be a little much. So, the recipe that you have there and that I'm going to make the base for now is the regular. So even though these are what I call the large. So, okay. So you can do this in any kind of order you want.
but it's Greek yogurt. Can you grab the Greek yogurt and soy milk out of there, please? So just plain Greek yogurt, such a versatile ingredient. It's the base. And you can make this up for 5 days easily. So just plain Hy-Vee Greek yogurt there. So Greek yogurt is such a great, we use that for the garlic dip. You can use it for sour cream on things. Just so much you can do. Okay. And as somebody so nicely, was it Mark? Was it you that said you could use it in the jar here with the garlic dip with the snack with the carrots? Somebody said that, I remember. So somebody made that suggestion.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, she was okay. Soy milk, I'm just adding a plant milk. Just make sure it's unsweetened. And like I think I mentioned before, maybe I didn't because I think that's in the other class, but soy milk, you can get my preference is to use the UHT soy milk if you're going to use soy milk. I'm just expressing my interest. You will see sometimes this in my refrigerator. But if I plan ahead, I will either go to Trader Joe's and get the UHT. The UHT is in the carton that you don't have to refrigerate till you open it. So, and the reason is because it's only got like 1 or 2 ingredients. Okay. Whereas if you look at this one, it's a paragraph. Okay, guys, even though it's unsweetened because it's got locust bean gum, gelum gum, or gagasatil something. It's got all these things, okay? I'm not saying that that's like horrible, but I like to minimize. So Walmart does have UHT soy milk. They put it in the fruit juice aisle, don't ask me why, on the bottom shelf, okay? So they hide it. So, and it's that one is a little bigger container. It's like $5, but it's as tall as this, but it's more of a box, I guess, like thinner. So, the ones at Trader Joe are smaller, which is nice because they, the refrigerator don't take up so much room. So when I go to Trader Joe's, I usually grab like 6 of them. They're usually good if you look at the date till like 4 or 5 months. So, but just saying, this is still fine to do, but if you want to go a step less processed, the UHTs are really good that way. So I'm just going to pour the soy milk in there. And you can vary up these ingredients some. I did try and keep the protein. We've got good amount of protein there. You want to make sure you have some protein in the morning. Most people need some. Most people can't just do oatmeal with milk. Now, maybe you're fine for an hour, but does that take you 3-4 hours, oatmeal? Okay. My oatmeal does. Okay. I've got like 1/3 cup to 1/2 cup of walnuts. I've got 1 to 2 tablespoons flaxseed ground up. I've got 1 to 2 tablespoons carob or not carob, cacao or cocoa, the Hershey's, and a little cinnamon, the soy milk. I think that's it. So, blueberries. Okay, about good cup of blueberries in there. So, okay, and then we're going to add oats. In there, just old-fashioned oats. You don't need to do the quick oats. So that's got the beta glucan in there, which we love. And then we're going to add some for this one, for the blueberry muffin, kind of a coffee cake-ish. We've got chia seeds, and I've got some cinnamon and a little sprinkle of nutmeg. So the chia seeds are here. Chia seeds here.
I'm just coming behind you.
Oh, that's fine.
Mine's not working.
Your computer, so the chia seeds look like bird seed, little gray bird seeds. So they're a nightmare if you spill them on the counter. Okay. So, but they are great. They have a gel in them, and they have that soluble fiber that grabs onto the cholesterol. It's that soluble fiber that is magical for cholesterol, guys. And it also releases your blood sugar much slower. Okay, so soluble fiber or insoluble fiber is really great for other reasons. I won't go into it, but I'm just saying for some of the things that I'm capitalizing on today, that soluble fiber, we find it in the chia seeds, we find it in beans, we find it in the barley and the oats. So now for the chocolate peanut butter one, I've got chia underneath there with the cocoa. So this is the baking cocoa. Hershey's, just make sure you don't have the Dutch process, just 100%. Now it says cacao. It's really cocoa. I looked this up because it was confusing to me because this is cocoa. Okay. Now cacao is less refined. It's a earlier process of this. It's similar in taste, not identical, but I had that in my oats just because you get more polyphenols. You don't get any more fiber. You still get just as much fiber in here. So there is, for 1 tablespoon, guys, are you ready for this? 10 calories and 2 grams of fiber. 1 tablespoon of this. Isn't that amazing? So don't be afraid to start adding cocoa. Now there's no sugar in that, so don't eat that out of the container. You're going to be in for shock. But you know, if you anything, you can start adding it. You can even add it to Greek yogurt and then add a little bit of sweetener. Just, you know, go real gentle with the sweetener, but it'll be chocolate yogurt then. So we're going to seal this up and then we're just going to shake it. I love these containers. Now do remember that these lids aren't 100% leak proof. Okay. I know that from experience. So I'm always holding over something just in case. I've been lucky lately, but I've had a few messes. So we're just going to shake that up just like that. This one becomes chocolatey looking. This one's just like got the little pebbles of the chia, and then you put it in the refrigerator and that's it. So this is what you could do for 5 days. You could set this, you know, in your refrigerator. It'd be fine. So it will thicken a little bit. So if you want it a little thinner, what do?
Soy milk.
Yep, add a little soy milk just before you eat it. So, okay, you can eat this cold or hot. I like mine hot. 90 seconds, it's magical in the microwave. I mean, not with this lid. You can't have this plastic lid, but the container's fine. There are. So now, oh, I forgot to add blueberries to that's what I forgot. And I forgot my sweetener. So I need a little sweetener. So the maple syrup. So let's see, want the maple syrup in there and then shake it up again. So we probably need a little sweetener with the chocolate one too. So that'll be a little shocking without. So, okay, stir that up, shake it up. And that will thicken really nice. I mean, it'll be like pudding mousse kind of. So, okay, so that's your base that you can prepare ahead of time. And then the toppings, you know, you can vary up the toppings. However, you can see there what I've recommended for the toppings. So here, this has been, let's see, when was it? Like probably about right around 1 when I made these today. Okay. So you can see that, I mean, I'm a little nervous. Okay, there we go. So it really does thicken up nicely. So this one, yep. So that's really thick. So you can see I just use a salsa, you know, the Linda salsa. I should save those, guys. They're just regular mason jars. So you can, for the blueberries, you can add some more blueberries, and some walnuts is great topping. Again, the walnuts are super healthy for you guys. So adding in 2 things is a great way to go. It adds texture, crunch, a little bit of flavor. And you could actually make little containers of these in the freezer and then just dump it in the morning. So you'd have everything, you could have everything made on Sunday. Okay. So this is unsalted for the chocolate peanut butter one. I've got the unsalted peanuts. So I don't know if you know that there's unsalted peanuts, so roasted. So that's a really, a great way to go to accent a lot of salads and bowls. And then peanut butter, I just use the regular creamy. You can use natural if you want to. There's also peanut butter powder. We've got some here. So that's something to play around with. It's not identical to peanut butter. I mean, it's peanut butter that they've just taken the oil out of. You need to, a lot of people will mix it up and then let it sit in the refrigerator. It needs to kind of thicken in its own way, but play around with it. You could add a little sweetener if you wanted to, just a tinge. Some people will, but that's something if you wanted to cut down on the fat in this somewhat. So, and then a little bit of dark chocolate. So to add that just a little bit. So, you want this to be delicious, something that you look forward to. So, these are some easy ways to do that. Which one is the one that you're like looking forward to? The coffee cake, blueberry coffee cake, or the peanut butter chocolate revel? Peanut butter. Okay. Okay, we'll see. So can you put this down there so people can start tasting? So, oh, I didn't put the timer on. I think we're,
I was just checking the scene.
okay. Anybody take note of what time it was I put it in? I had the timer there, but I never started it. I know we're pretty close to 15 minutes.
So.
It was? Okay, so, hey, I'll finish up and then we'll take it. Oh, well, let me take it out and show. So as we're finishing up, I want to say a big thank you to everybody. So a big kudos to you for coming to all these classes to, take away what you need. Trust that what you're learning is just what you need right now. Getting everything in 1 minute isn't what you need. What you need is just enough to start taking those steps forward, and just trust that what you're grabbing from these classes is exactly what you need. You're always welcome to come back through the classes. I love, if any of you virtually can make it in the future in person, or you want to take again virtual, you're always welcome to. I know the minute that you go out the door, unless you brought somebody from home with you today, it's really tough. Okay, it's really tough. But the culture we have right now makes it tough to do these things that we want to be doing for the health that we want. So, these classes are a way of support. So if you want to take them again and glean some other things and come back and ask questions, try things in a different way, you're welcome to do that. The next diabetes class will be in October. August, we have the Cooking with Heart for foundational class. So that's something, if you haven't taken, you can take that. That's on Thursday evenings in August. And then we have Cooking with Cancer, and that's on Tuesdays at noon. So they're all Mediterranean, same eating pattern, but different topics that we talk about, and then different recipes. They're all different recipes. So I love to hear, from you. If you want to do the nutritional assessment, again, I will send out an email. You can do it, in the next week, or if you want to do it in 3 weeks and wait and do the nutritional assessment, you can. I'll send out an email just reminding you. Just send me an email, say, hey, I want to do that nutrition assessment, because I need to send you a custom link. So awesome. Somebody's already signed up for the October class. And I forgot to say, somebody sent a really great comment about doing fish. Let me see if I can find it. Somebody said something about fish in the air fryer. So that's always a great way. The fish and salmon in the air fryer is quick and easy. Thank you, Patrick. 400 degrees for 7 to 9 minutes, and you're off to the races. So our ground chia seeds is good as whole. Yes, Deb. So you don't need to grind up chia seeds, though, to get the benefit. Flaxseed, you do. So I just want to make sure you're clear on that. So, but chia seeds, our bodies can break down fine. So what's that?
I said they're real fine.
They are pretty fine. So I don't know about grinding it, but I wanted to make sure you knew that you're good to go if they're whole or ground. So, but I also, if anybody would love to inspire others to take these classes, because we do these classes because it's our mission here at Unity Point Health to raise the health of the community that we're in. So there's no cost. We're not making money on this. So we would love your help spreading the word. So if you're willing to share your story, either in a quote, or our marketing department could meet with you and just ask you questions. This is not about like doing some Oprah cover, okay, guys? This is about you just sharing your story, because if you share your story, people listen. You have more credibility than me, okay? When somebody's going on the edge of, should I take this class? Is it worth my time? They're going to listen to you and not me, okay? I can be as excited as I want, but you have more credibility sharing just your story, that you were a little hesitant, that you took it, that the dishes were better than you expected. You just say what happened for you. That's the story that we
Gotta pinch it
So
together.
if you're willing to do that, let me know. And I know we're just right over the hour. The last thing is you should have an envelope in your binder. Again, like I said, these classes we don't charge for, we don't make money. If you want to make a donation, 5, 10,
1,000, whatever, we'll take. So, but there's an envelope there and there's a link, that I'll be sending out that you can do it online. So, that support the classes. So thank you, everyone. Questions? I'm here. So we're going to get our fish ready. I'm going to take it out so you can see it. And we've got oats, overnight oats for you guys to put your own toppings on. So, okay, here we go. Look at that fish. Yum, yum. There we go. Look how easy that is, guys. So let me take a temperature and make sure we're up to temp here. The center one always. Yep, 149. So we're good. So 145. Fish is always 145. We want to get at least two. So this is nice because I didn't go up to 185. So we're going to have really nice voice. So sometimes you get nervous when you're doing it for a group and you go really high.